Kendra's world has been turned upside down, and fans can hardly believe what they're hearing. The streets are buzzing, social media is on fire, and the cameras have caught a scandal so raw, so explosive, that it threatens to destroy everything she thought was secure in her marriage. Just when she believed her love with Jock had finally reached a place of peace after years of chaos, the unthinkable happened. Imagine the shock, the devastation, the heartbreak of walking into a room and finding the man you built your life around, the father figure you defended against every rumor, lying tangled up in sheets with someone you trusted. Not just anyone. No, this wasn't a random mistake. This was Mo, and that discovery hit Kendra like a thunderbolt to the chest. Picture this: Kendra, coming home late from a work meeting, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor as she calls Jock's name. Silence. A strange silence. Something in her gut tells her the night is about to turn dark. She climbs the stairs, pushes open the door, and in a moment that will haunt her forever, she sees it. The scene no wife should ever see: Jock and Mo, wrapped up, unaware, caught in a betrayal that slices deeper than words could describe. The scream that ripped from Kendra's throat could shake the walls. The betrayal didn't just sting, it shattered her spirit in an instant. And now, fans everywhere are reeling. They've seen drama in this family before, but nothing like this. Emotions are boiling, accusations are flying, and the fallout could destroy friendships, families, and reputations for good. What happens next will leave everyone gasping, because in this storm, secrets will come to light, loyalties will be tested, and Kendra will be forced to decide if love can survive the ultimate betrayal or if this is the final nail in the coffin. The night that shattered everything began in silence, but silence that carried weight, the kind that clings to the air and makes your heart uneasy. Kendra had felt it before, but she never wanted to believe it was real. After years of patching up broken promises and defending Jock against endless gossip, she thought their marriage had reached stability. But as fate would have it, all that trust was an illusion waiting to be ripped apart. That evening, she walked into her home later than usual, exhausted yet eager to see her husband. The house was dimly lit, and the sound of her heels echoed in an almost mocking rhythm against the hardwood. She called out his name once, twice, expecting his familiar voice to greet her back. There was nothing. A part of her told her to let it go. Maybe he had gone out. Maybe he was asleep. Maybe nothing was wrong. But another voice inside pushed her forward, whispering that something wasn't right. As she climbed the stairs, the air grew heavier, each step pulling her closer to the moment that would destroy her sense of safety. The door creaked open, and there it was, an image that would etch itself into her mind forever. Jock, her husband, the man she trusted with her future, lay in bed, tangled with Mo, someone she had considered close enough to be part of their circle. For a moment, time froze. Her heart stopped beating, her lungs refused to breathe, her mind screamed for denial, but the truth was staring back at her, raw and undeniable. Jock's eyes widened when he realized she was standing there, his face a mixture of guilt and fear. Mo quickly pulled away, stammering, unable to form words. But it didn't matter. The damage was already done. Kendra's scream tore through the room, a sound filled with betrayal, disbelief, and pain so sharp it could cut glass. Jock tried to reach for her, his voice cracking. Kendra, wait, this isn't what it looks like. But those words, the most insulting of cliches, only fueled her rage. She staggered back, her hands trembling, her chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. The tears stung her eyes, but anger held them back, replaced by a fire that had been lit deep within her. Not what it looks like. She shouted, her voice echoing through the house. Do you take me for a fool, Jock? Do you think I can't see what's right in front of me? Jock stumbled over his words, desperate to explain, but Kendra wasn't hearing it. She slammed the door shut, the sound reverberating like thunder, and stormed down the hall. The house that had once been their safe haven now felt like a cage filled with betrayal. Word spread faster than wildfire. Within hours, the whispers began. Fans and friends alike exchanging messages, piecing together the story. Social media lit up with speculation, screenshots, and cryptic posts that only added fuel to the chaos. Did you hear about Jock and Mo? Kendra caught them together. This is the end for sure. The public, always hungry for drama, devoured every detail, and while strangers debated online, the storm inside Kendra's home grew darker. Jock tried to follow her into the living room, pleading, his words tumbling over each other. Please, let me explain. It's not what you think. It just happened. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. His excuses, weak and hollow, only twisted the knife deeper. Kendra stood tall, her voice low but trembling with fury. "You didn't mean for me to find out like this. You mean you wanted to keep lying to me? How long, Jock? How long have you been doing this behind my back?" Jock had no answer, his silence more damning than any confession. Mo, wrapped in a blanket, appeared at the doorway, her face streaked with tears, but Kendra's eyes burned into her like fire. You were supposed to be a friend. You came into my home, you smiled in my face, and all along you were betraying me. Both of you disgust me." Mo tried to speak, but Kendra cut her off with a wave of her hand. "Don't you dare say a word. Nothing you can say will ever undo this." The weight of the betrayal crushed Kendra's chest. Memories of dinners, family gatherings, and late-night conversations flooded her mind. Each one tainted now by the knowledge of what Jock had been hiding. She thought of the times she defended him when others questioned his loyalty. When rumors swirled around him and she stood firm, believing his promises. All of that faith crumbled in a single night. She felt the walls closing in, the air suffocating. The sound of Jock's pleading faded, replaced by the roaring in her ears. She couldn't bear to stay another moment in that house. With trembling hands, she grabbed her keys and stormed out, her heels striking the ground like gunshots. Jock followed her to the door, calling her name, but she was gone before he could reach her. The engine of her car roaring as she sped into the night. Fans were stunned. The footage of Kendra leaving in tears, captured by a neighbor's phone, went viral within hours. Headlines screamed betrayal, hashtags trended, and everyone had an opinion. Some sided with Kendra, outraged at Jock's audacity, and Mo's betrayal. Others speculated about what had really happened behind closed doors, spinning theories and pointing fingers. The drama wasn't just confined to their home, it had spilled into the world, dragging their reputations through the mud. And as the story grew, so did the divide. Jock's friends whispered that this wasn't the first time he'd strayed, that Kendra had simply chosen not to see it. Kendra's supporters blasted him online, demanding she leave him for good. The family was left torn apart, each member forced to take sides in a war that had no winners. Back at her mother's house, Kendra finally collapsed into tears, her body shaking as years of suppressed doubts and fears poured out. Her mother, heartbroken at the sight of her daughter's pain, held her tightly, whispering, "You're stronger than this, baby, don't let them break you." But strength felt like a distant dream. All Kendra could see was the image of Jock and Mo, seared into her mind like a scar. She wanted answers, she wanted justice, but above all, she wanted to understand why. Why would Jock risk everything they had built? Why would Mo betray the bond they shared? Those questions swirled like a storm in her mind, demanding answers she wasn't sure she could ever face. And as the night dragged into morning, one truth became clear: this was only the beginning of a drama that would shake their world to its core. The morning after the betrayal was no easier for Kendra, and if anything, the daylight only made the reality more unbearable. She woke up in her childhood bedroom, the same walls that once carried posters of dreams and ambitions, now enclosing a grown woman shattered by heartbreak. Her phone buzzed endlessly on the nightstand, calls, texts, and notifications piling up like relentless reminders of the storm waiting outside. She ignored them, burying her face in the pillow as tears soaked the fabric. But escape was impossible. The world already knew. The scandal had erupted like a volcano overnight, spilling across every timeline, every blog, every conversation in Atlanta. Jock's name was trending for all the wrong reasons, and Kendra's humiliation had become public property. Jock, meanwhile, sat in the kitchen of their home, staring at the cold cup of coffee he had poured hours ago but never touched. The silence of the house gnawed at him, every creak of the floor reminding him of Kendra's absence. His phone buzzed, with calls from friends, business partners, and even family, all demanding to know the truth. He answered none of them. Instead, he drafted text after text to Kendra, deleting each one before sending. How could he explain? How could he make her believe this wasn't the end? Believe this wasn't. "I love you," he whispered to himself, as if saying it into the air would somehow reach her heart. But love had lost its weight the moment she opened that door. At her mother's house, Kendra finally sat up when her cousin barged in, holding her phone out like a weapon. "Girl, you need to see this. Jock went live. He's out here talking like he's the victim." Kendra's heart sank as she snatched the phone, her hands trembling as the screen played Jock's face, raw and unshaven, his voice heavy with desperation. "I know everybody out here got something to say," he began, "but y'all don't know the whole story. Yes, Kendra walked in on something she shouldn't have, but it's not what it looks like. Me and Mo, it wasn't planned, it wasn't some big secret affair. It was a mistake. One mistake. And I still love my wife." The audacity of it made Kendra's blood boil. She threw the phone onto the couch, her voice shaking with rage. "A mistake. A mistake doesn't crawl into bed with someone else. A mistake doesn't betray your wife in your own home. He thinks he can spin this to save face. No, not this time." Her mother tried to calm her, but Kendra was beyond consolation. Her pain was now mixed with anger, and anger demanded action. She grabbed her phone, opened Instagram, and began typing a message to her followers. Her hands shook as she hit record, her face still streaked with tears, but her eyes blazing with fire. "To everyone asking me how I'm doing, no, I'm not okay. I walked in on my husband and Mo, and I don't care what Jock says, it was exactly what it looked like. I trusted him. I trusted her, and they both betrayed me. This is not a mistake. This is who he is. And I'm done protecting him." She ended the live abruptly, but the damage was already done. Fans flooded the comments with support, outrage, and disbelief. The lines were drawn, and Team Kendra was louder than ever. Mo, however, wasn't about to stay silent either. Cornered and humiliated, she posted a cryptic message of her own. "Sometimes people find comfort in places they shouldn't. That doesn't make them evil. Don't believe everything you hear." The post, vague but pointed, only fanned the flames. Screenshots spread, theories multiplied, and the betrayal that had started as a private nightmare had now become a public spectacle. Family members were dragged into the mess, with Jock's sister reportedly confronting him at his house, demanding to know how he could embarrass the family like this. Meanwhile, Kendra's cousins took to Twitter, defending her honor and blasting Jock for his reckless behavior. The feud had extended beyond the marriage, it had become a family war. That evening, Jock showed up at Kendra's mother's doorstep, his face weary, his voice hoarse from hours of arguments and explanations. He knocked, begged, pleaded to be let in, but Kendra refused. From behind the door, her voice cracked but firm, she shouted, "Go home, Jock. Whatever we had is over, you destroyed it." He leaned against the door, tears streaming down his face, his fists pounding softly against the wood. "Please, Kendra, don't do this. Don't let one mistake erase everything we've built. I can fix this. We can fix this." But the door never opened. Kendra's mother eventually stepped outside, her arms crossed, her eyes cold. "Son, you need to leave. You hurt my daughter in a way that can't be undone. Respect her space." Jock, defeated, turned back toward his car, the weight of the world on his shoulders. Cameras flashed from the street as paparazzi captured every second of his downfall. Inside, Kendra crumbled again, her body shaking as she collapsed into her mother's arms. "Why me? Why always me?" she sobbed, her voice raw with pain. Her mother stroked her hair, whispering, "Because you've got a heart too big, baby. But this time, you need to protect it. Don't let him break you any further." Kendra nodded weakly, but inside she knew this was far from over. Jock wasn't going to walk away quietly, and Mo wasn't going to disappear. The betrayal had cracked open wounds that would not heal overnight. The world was watching, waiting for the next chapter, and Kendra could feel it. The drama was only beginning. Kendra tried to find strength in the days that followed, but every attempt to breathe without pain was crushed by the constant wave of reminders. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Friends checked in, fans sent messages of support, but mixed in were cruel comments accusing her of overreacting, of clinging to drama for attention. The betrayal had not only stolen her peace but also forced her to defend her very character. She avoided looking at her reflection, because the woman staring back at her no longer felt familiar. She wasn't the confident wife she once was. She was a woman stripped bare in front of the world, her most private heartbreak turned into entertainment for strangers. Meanwhile, Jock was spiraling in his own way. He spent nights pacing in the dark, calling Kendra's number over and over, sometimes leaving messages that cracked with emotion. "I can't lose you," he whispered in one recording, his voice trembling. "Please, Kendra, I'll do anything. Don't let this be the end." But every time Kendra listened, her stomach turned. His words no longer carried weight. She had heard promises before, countless times, each one followed by disappointment. This wasn't just about one night. This was about years of cracks in their foundation, years of doubts she had buried in the name of love. Mo, on the other hand, became the villain in the eyes of the public. Fans swarmed her pages with insults, labeling her a homewrecker, a snake, a traitor. She tried to defend herself in a shaky Instagram live, her voice wavering as she said, "I never meant to hurt Kendra. I never wanted it to go this far. Jock and I, we made a mistake, but I'm not the monster y'all are painting me out to be." The live backfired instantly. Comments flooded in. "You knew he was married. You don't make mistakes in someone else's bed. You ruined a family." Mo broke down midstream, tears smudging her mascara, before abruptly ending the video. But by then, the damage was irreversible. The tension reached a boiling point when Kendra decided to face Jock one last time, not to reconcile, but to demand answers. The confrontation was arranged at a neutral location, her lawyer's office. Jock arrived first, looking worn, his eyes hollow from lack of sleep. When Kendra walked in, dressed sharply but with an icy expression, the room filled with silence, so thick it was suffocating. She sat across from him, her arms crossed, her gaze unflinching. "I didn't agree to this meeting to hear excuses," she began, her voice steady though her heart raced. "I want the truth, Jock. How long? How many times? And don't you dare insult me with lies." Jock leaned forward, his hands clasped together, his voice heavy with shame. "It wasn't like that. It wasn't an affair. It was one night, one stupid, reckless night. I swear to you, Kendra, Mo doesn't mean anything to me." Kendra's eyes narrowed. "One night? Do you expect me to believe that? Do you think I don't know you better than that? Your body language alone told me this wasn't some accident. You were comfortable with her, Jock. That doesn't happen overnight." His silence confirmed her suspicion. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back, refusing to let him see her break again. "You didn't just cheat on me. You cheated on the woman who defended you when no one else would. You cheated on the vows we made. You cheated on the life we built. And now you want me to what? Forgive you? Move past this." The lawyer stepped in, trying to steer the meeting toward logistics separation agreements, living arrangements, but Jock ignored it, his voice breaking as he pleaded. "I love you, Kendra, I can't lose you. I'll go to counseling. I'll cut Mo out completely. I'll do whatever it takes. Don't throw us away." But Kendra shook her head slowly. "You already threw us away. I just finally saw it for myself." Her words cut deeper than any scream could have. Jock buried his face in his hands, shoulders shaking, but Kendra stood, gathering her bag. "We're done, Jock. This chapter is over." When the meeting ended, paparazzi were already waiting outside, snapping photos as Kendra walked out without looking back. The images of her cold expression, contrasted with Jock's tear-streaked face, flooded headlines within hours. Blogs spun narratives of divorce, custody battles over finances, even speculations about revenge. The story had become bigger than them now, a spectacle too juicy for the public to resist. Fans debated endlessly, should Kendra forgive him, or was this betrayal unforgivable? Each side grew louder, dividing the audience into factions like it was a reality show cliffhanger. At home that night, Kendra sat with her mother and cousins, scrolling through the flood of messages. Her mother tried to shield her from the noise, but Kendra read each comment, every opinion cutting like glass. "They don't know me," she whispered bitterly. "They don't know what I've been through." Her cousin reached over, squeezing her hand. "They don't have to know. You know your worth, and right now, you're proving it by standing up for yourself." But deep down, Kendra wasn't so sure. Anger had carried her this far, but beneath it lay a hollow ache, a loneliness she couldn't shake. She missed Jock, despite everything. She missed the laughter, the late-night talks, the feeling of being loved. Betrayal and love tangled inside her like barbed wire, cutting her no matter which way she turned. And as she sat in the quiet of the night, staring at the city lights through her mother's window, she whispered a question that haunted her. What if I can't let him go? She didn't know then that Jock wasn't done fighting for her, and Mo wasn't done stirring the pot. The storm was far from over, and the next wave would be even more devastating. Kendra's whispered question, "What if I can't let him go?" was barely out of her mouth before life threw her into the next round of chaos. The very next day, Jock made his boldest move yet. With cameras trailing him, he showed up outside Kendra's mother's house, holding a bouquet of roses so massive, it nearly blocked his face. Paparazzi swarmed the street, their flashes blinding as they shouted questions. "Jock, are you here to win her back? What do you have to say to Kendra after betraying her? Jock didn't respond. His face was grim, determined, as he walked up the steps and knocked on the door. Inside, Kendra froze. She watched through the curtain as Jock stood there, flowers in hand, surrounded by a sea of cameras. Her mother's voice rose behind her. "Don't you dare open that door. Kendra, don't let him humiliate you again." But Kendra's heart pounded in her chest. This wasn't just another argument. This was a Cena performance in front of the world. She straightened her shoulders, wiped her tears, and pulled open the door. Gasps erupted from the paparazzi, their lenses snapping furiously. Jock's eyes softened when he saw her. "Kendra," he said, his voice trembling but loud enough for the cameras to catch. "I messed up. I hurt you. I hurt us. But I'm not letting our love die like this." He thrust the roses toward her, but she didn't take them. Instead, her eyes narrowed, her voice cold. "You want to perform for the cameras? Fine. Let's give them a show." Her words cut, but Jock pressed on, desperate. "I don't care about the cameras. I care about you. Mo was a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. Please, just give me a chance to prove it." The street erupted as neighbors peeked out of their windows, bystanders whispered, and the world seemed to shrink. Around the two of them, Kendra's mother stepped in, pulling her daughter back. "This is not the place, Jock. Leave before you embarrass yourself further." But Jock shook his head, tears streaming down his face. "I'll stand here all night if I have to. I'm not leaving until she knows I'll fight for her." The moment was pure spectacle, the kind of reality TV-worthy drama fans couldn't look away from. Social media exploded, with live streams capturing the showdown in real time. "This is insane," one fan tweeted. "It's like we're watching a soap opera unfold on the streets." Kendra, however, wasn't swayed. She slammed the door shut, her voice cracking as she shouted from behind it. "Love doesn't betray. Jock, you already killed what we had." The sound of the lock clicking was the final blow. Jock stood there, defeated, before setting the flowers on the porch and walking back through the swarm of flashing lights. The footage aired across every blog and gossip site within the hour, fueling the fire of speculation. Was this the end of Jock and Kendra? Or was this just another chapter in their twisted love story? But as Jock licked his wounds, Mo made her own move. That very night, she went live again, but this time her tone was sharper, colder. "Everyone's painting me as the villain," she said, her eyes burning with defiance. "But let's not act like Jock and Kendra were this perfect fairy tale. They had cracks for years. I didn't break them. He came to me because he was already broken." The comments section exploded, fans calling her delusional, others demanding she drop names and dates. Mo leaned closer to the camera, whispering, "You think this was one night? Y'all really don't know Jock like I do." The bombshell was set. Screenshots of her live spread instantly, blogs analyzing every word. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. Was Mo telling the truth? Had Jock been lying not just to Kendra, but to everyone? The whispers turned into roars, and Kendra found herself drowning in a new wave of humiliation. Her phone buzzed with texts from friends. "Girl, did you see what Mo just said? She's claiming it's been going on for months." Kendra's chest tightened as she read, rage and heartbreak twisting into one. She stormed into the living room, shouting to her cousins, "I can't take this anymore. She's not just trying to justify what she did, she's trying to rewrite my entire marriage." Her cousin urged her to stay calm, but Kendra's voice only grew sharper. "No, she wants a war. I'll give her one. She doesn't get to play the victim after crawling into my husband's bed." And with that, Kendra fired off her own Instagram story, her voice shaking with fury. "Mo, since you want to talk about my marriage, let's be clear, you were a guest in my house, eating at my table, smiling in my face, and all the while, you were stabbing me in the back. You're not exposing cracks, you're exposing your own lack of character. Keep my name out your mouth." The post racked up thousands of shares within minutes, fans cheering her clapback, others waiting eagerly for Mo's inevitable response. The family was now fractured beyond repair. Jock's sisters avoided Kendra's calls, feeling torn between loyalty to their brother and respect for her pain. Kendra's cousins blasted Jock online, labeling him Atlanta's biggest liar. Friends picked sides, and even fans divided into factions, each camp louder than the other. What started as one shocking discovery had now grown into a full-scale feud with no end in sight. But beneath the chaos, beneath the hashtags and the viral videos, Kendra sat alone that night, staring at her phone, fighting the ache in her chest. For all her anger, all her defiance, One truth refused to leave her mind. She still loved Jock, and it was that lingering love, that dangerous thread of attachment, that made the drama far from over. Because Jock wasn't done fighting, Mo wasn't done talking, and Kendra, whether she admitted it or not, wasn't done feeling. And the next twist was already waiting just around the corner. By the time the dust settled, Atlanta was buzzing like never before. Kendra's explosive rant had already reached millions, and Jock's carefully constructed silence was finally starting to crack. Producers knew this would become one of the highest-rated episodes of the season, so they pushed harder, arranging sit-downs, sneak peeks, and forced confrontations that no one was ready for. Carly, always unbothered on the surface, strutted into the studio in an all-red dress, her laughter echoing in the room as if she fed off the chaos itself. "Y'all mad because I stay relevant," she said, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. The audience gasped, and Kendra's jaw clenched so tight you could practically hear her teeth grind. She wasn't done. "You wrecked your own life and dragged my husband down with you," she fired back, her voice shaking not from fear but from fury. Jock sat slouched in the corner, the weight of two women's wrath pressing down on him, but when the cameras turned, he finally spoke. "I ain't perfect," he admitted, his voice unusually low, "but I'm tired of everybody twisting my life for clicks and gossip. Yeah, I made mistakes, but I never stopped trying to hold my family together." The words hung heavy, and for the first time, there was silence in the room. Even Carly paused, tilting her head as if debating whether to laugh or let it sink in. But Kendra wasn't swayed. "You didn't just make mistakes, Jock, you broke trust. And no wedding photo can erase what you've done." Tears threatened at the corners of her eyes, though she refused to let them fall. The reckoning wasn't about Carly anymore, it was about a marriage hanging by a thread. Jock's voice cracked as he muttered, "So what now? Do I walk away from the woman I built a life with, or do I let everyone else keep tearing us apart?" The question wasn't meant for the audience, but it pierced through the cameras, straight into viewers' hearts. By the end of the segment, fans were left split. Some begged Kendra to leave him and never look back. Others defended Jock as a flawed man caught in reality TV's firestorm, and Carly, she simply flipped her hair, smiled at the chaos she ignited, and walked off like a queen who had already won. The fallout was more than scandal, it was the kind of raw, painful drama that blurs the line between entertainment and real heartbreak. In the weeks that followed, every move Jock and Kendra made was dissected, every glance analyzed, every silence stretched into a headline. No matter where this love triangle went next, one thing was certain: Atlanta had witnessed one of the most explosive reckonings in reality television history. Atlanta has never seen drama like this. And you know this is only the beginning. Do you think Kendra should walk away from Jock for good, or will love win out in the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one. And if you live for this kind of tea, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the madness. Trust me, the next chapter is going to blow your mind.